Have you ever noticed that sometimes nothing bad is happening, yet your mind still feels heavy? You may be sitting in a safe room, eating food, with no real danger around you. But inside your head there is stress. You worry about tomorrow. You replay something embarrassing from last week. You imagine problems that have not happened. Your body is here, but your mind is somewhere else. This is where many people live every day, and they do not even notice it. Think about John. He wakes up and checks his phone. He sees messages, work tasks, and news. Before getting out of bed, he already feels pressure. While brushing his teeth, he thinks about a meeting later. While eating breakfast, he remembers an argument from yesterday. While driving, he worries about bills. By noon, John feels tired, even though the day has barely started. What drained him was not hard work. It was nonstop thinking. This is the kind of problem the book The Power of Now talks about in Chapter 1. The author, Eckhart Tolle, starts with a simple but powerful idea. Most human suffering comes from being trapped in the mind. We spend so much time thinking about the past and future that we forget to live in the present moment. Chapter 1 mainly asks one big question. Are you using your mind, or is your mind using you? That sounds strange at first. Thinking seems helpful. And yes, thinking is useful when solving real problems, planning your day, learning skills, or making decisions. But many people do not control thinking. Thinking controls them. Their mind keeps talking all day, even when there is no need. It comments, judges, compares, worries, and repeats old stories. It becomes like background noise that never stops. Imagine a radio in your room that plays all day. At first, you may ignore it, but over time, it makes you tired. That is what nonstop mental noise does. You may think it is normal because it has always been there, but normal does not always mean healthy. The first lesson in this chapter is simple. You are not the same as your thoughts. This is one of the most important ideas in the book. Many people believe every thought in their head is me. If the mind says, I am a failure, they believe it. If the mind says, something bad will happen, they panic. If the mind says, others are better than me, they feel small. But a thought is just a thought. It is mental activity. It is not always truth. Think of Sarah. She makes one mistake at work. Her mind says, I always ruin things. Is that true? No, she made one mistake. But the mind turns one event into a whole identity. This happens all the time. The chapter teaches that when you notice thoughts instead of blindly believing them, you create space. In that space, you become calmer and clearer. A useful way to understand this is like watching clouds in the sky. Thoughts come and go like clouds. Some are dark, some are light, some move fast, but the sky remains. In real life, your awareness is like the sky. Thoughts are passing events. You do not need to chase every cloud. The second lesson is about the present moment. Most stress lives in time that is not happening right now. The past exists as memory. The future exists as imagination. Of course, both can be useful. Memory helps learning. Planning helps action. But many people mentally live there all day. Emma is cooking dinner, but instead of cooking, her mind is in tomorrow's meeting. Then it jumps to something rude her friend said last month. Then it imagines getting sick next year. Her hands are cutting vegetables, but her attention is everywhere else. This creates tension. She misses the only moment she can actually live. Now, the chapter says the present moment is where life really happens. You can only breathe now. You can only listen now. You can only take action now. You can only change something now. Worrying about future action is not action. Replaying past pain is not healing. Real life moves through the present. This does not mean never plan. It means plan when needed, then return to now. If you need to prepare for tomorrow's test, study now. If you need to save money, make a budget now. Use the present to build the future, instead of mentally living in the future. The third lesson is about pain created by resistance. Often, pain is not only from the event itself. It also comes from fighting what already is. Traffic is happening. Rain is falling. A mistake was made. The moment already exists. But the mind says, this should not be happening. That inner fight adds extra suffering. Mike is stuck in traffic. There are two possible experiences. In one, he keeps saying, "This is terrible. My day is ruined. Why me?" His body tightens. Anger rises. In the other, he accepts the fact first. Traffic is here. Then he uses the moment wisely. He listens to something helpful, breathes, or calmly informs others he will be late. Same traffic, different mind, less suffering. Acceptance in this chapter does not mean liking everything. It means seeing reality clearly before reacting. When you stop arguing with facts, you save energy. Then you can respond better. Another key point in Chapter 1 is that many people build identity from mental stories. They define themselves by job title, success, failure, appearance, relationship status, or old memories. Then when those things shake, they feel lost. John thinks, if I lose this job, I am nothing. But is he really nothing? No. He is a human being with skills, thoughts, choices, and life beyond one role. When people tie their whole identity to changing things, fear grows. The chapter gently points people back to something more stable. Simple awareness and presence. In logical terms, this means knowing you're more than labels and temporary situations. So, how can someone practice this in normal life? Start by noticing the voice in your head, not fighting it, just noticing it. While washing dishes, maybe the mind says, "This is boring." Notice it. While walking, maybe it says, "You are behind in life." Notice it. When you notice thoughts, you stop being fully trapped inside them. Next, bring attention to what is actually happening. Feel your feet on the floor. Hear sounds around you. Notice your breathing. Look at the task in front of you. This is not magic. It is training attention. Then ask simple questions. Is this problem real right now or only in my head? Can I do something now? If yes, do it. If no, why keep carrying it this second? Have you ever noticed that your mind can turn one small problem into a huge storm? Maybe someone did not reply to your message. Maybe you made one mistake at school or work. The moment it happens, your mind starts running. What if they're upset? What if I fail? Why did I do that? Suddenly, one tiny moment becomes hours of stress. This is where Chapter 2 of The Power of Now gives a very powerful lesson. It says much of our pain does not come from life itself. It comes from a non-stop voice in our head. Think about John. He wakes up and remembers an awkward thing he said yesterday. While brushing his teeth, he replays it again. During breakfast, he imagines people laughing at him. On the way to work, he thinks of what he should have said. By noon, John feels tired, nervous, and upset. But nothing bad is happening right now. He is safe. He is sitting at a desk. The real problem is not the past event. The real problem is that his mind keeps feeding it. This chapter talks about a simple but deep idea. Many people are controlled by thinking without knowing it. They believe every thought in their head. They treat each thought like truth. But a thought is not always true. A thought is just a mental sentence. Sometimes it helps. Sometimes it lies. Sometimes it repeats old fear. Sometimes it creates fake future problems. The book asks us to notice something important. There are two parts inside us. One part is a thinker, the voice that comments on everything. The other part is the one who can notice the voice. That second part is calm awareness. In simple words, it is the part of you that can step back and watch your thoughts. For example, Sarah is waiting for a friend who is late. Her mind says, she does not respect me. Then another thought says, people always treat me badly. Then another says, I should stop trusting anyone. If Sarah believes all of it, she becomes angry. But if she notices, my mind is making stories because my friend is late, then something changes. She creates space between herself and the thoughts. Now she can breathe, wait, and maybe later learn the friend was stuck in traffic. This is one of the biggest lessons of Chapter 2. You are not the voice in your head. You are the one hearing it. That may sound small, but it changes everything. Imagine sitting near a road. Cars pass by. You watch them. You do not jump into every car. Thoughts are the same. They pass through the mind. You do not need to enter every thought. You do not need to ride every fear, memory, or worry. Many people live as if every thought deserves attention. If the mind says, you are not good enough, they believe it. If it says, tomorrow will be a disaster, they believe it. If it says, you must replay that old mistake 50 more times, they obey. The chapter says freedom begins when you stop obeying every thought. Another key lesson is that the mind loves time. It lives in yesterday and tomorrow. It replays the past and predicts the future. This can be useful for planning, learning, and solving problems. But most people overuse it. Instead of using thought as a tool, they become trapped inside it. Think of Mike. He has an interview next week. Planning for it for 1 hour is smart, but worrying about it for 7 days is different. He imagines failing, being embarrassed, losing chances, disappointing everyone. None of that is happening now. The future exists only as pictures in his mind. His body feels stress from events that are not real yet. The book says the present moment is where life actually happens. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, only now. This does not mean ignore the future or forget the past. It means use them when needed, but live mainly in what is real now, right now. Mike can prepare one answer, choose clothes, practice speaking, and then return to the present moment. That is useful action. Endless worry is useless mental noise. Another lesson in this chapter is that people often build identity from thought. They say, I am the one who failed. I am the anxious person. I am the angry person. But those are stories repeated so many times they feel permanent. Emma once failed a test. Since then, she keeps saying, I'm bad at learning. Every new challenge feels scary because she carries an old label. But one past event does not define a whole person. The chapter reminds us that many identities are mental habits, not facts. When you watch thoughts instead of becoming them, labels start to weaken. Emma can notice, my mind keeps repeating an old story. Then she can act differently now. She can study, ask questions, improve, and grow. So, how do we do this in real life? The book gives a simple direction. Observe the mind. Listen to your thoughts the way you would listen to someone talking in another room. Notice the tone. Notice the repeated lines. Notice the fear stories. Notice the complaints. When you observe them, you stop being trapped inside them. Let's say John spills coffee before leaving home. His mind says, great, the whole day is ruined. If he notices the thought, he may even smile. It is only spilled coffee. He can clean it and continue. One event happened. The mind tried to turn it into a full disaster. This chapter also points the body as a doorway to the present. When the mind runs wild, attention can return to simple things. Breathing, walking, washing dishes, hearing sounds, feeling your feet on the ground. These small actions bring you back to what is real now. Sarah tries this when stressed. She stops and feels one slow breath. She notices a chair under her. She hears the fan. She looks around the room. In 10 seconds, she is back in reality instead of trapped in imagination. Why does this matter so much? Because many people suffer twice. First, life gives a problem. Then the mind adds 10 extra problems. A delay becomes rejection. A mistake becomes failure. Silence becomes hate. Uncertainty becomes doom. The chapter teaches us to remove the extra suffering created by uncontrolled thinking. That does not mean life becomes perfect. Problems still happen. Bills come. People disagree. Plans fail. But when the mind is calmer, problems become easier to handle. You deal with the real issue instead of fighting hundreds of imaginary ones. There is also a hidden strength in being present. When the mind is noisy, you react fast and badly. You snap at people. You panic. You avoid things. But when you are present, there is a tiny pause between event and reaction. In that pause, wisdom appears. Mike gets rude feedback at work. His first thought is to attack back, but he notices anger rising. He pauses. He breathes. Then he responds calmly and asks what needs fixing. Same moment, better result. This is a journey chapter 2 offers. First comes a problem. People are lost inside nonstop thinking. Then comes understanding. Thoughts are not always truth, and you are not your thoughts. Then comes a solution. Notice the mind, return to now, and act from clarity. You do not need hours of silence on a mountain. You can practice while washing dishes, walking to class, waiting in line, or sitting in traffic. Notice your mind wandering into fear. Gently come back. Notice anger stories. Come back. Notice regret loops. Come back. Each time you return, you become stronger than the habit. In the end, Chapter 2 gives one clear message. Your mind is a useful tool, but a terrible master. Use it when needed. Put it down when not needed. Life becomes lighter when you stop believing every thought and start living the moment that is actually here. Right now is usually much calmer than the story in your head. What if the biggest problem in your life is not your job, your money, or other people, but the nonstop voice inside your head? The voice that keeps talking, worrying, comparing, remembering, planning, and complaining. Imagine if that voice became quiet, even for a moment. How would life feel then? Think about John. He wakes up, and before getting out of bed, his mind starts running. I slept late. Today will be hard. I need to answer messages. What if I fail in that meeting? Why did I say that yesterday? Nothing bad has happened yet. He is still lying in bed, but his body already feels stress. His day begins with thoughts, not reality. This is where Chapter 3 of The Power of Now gives a simple but powerful lesson. The chapter teaches that most people live inside their mind, not inside their real life. Their body is here, but their attention is somewhere else. They are stuck in yesterday, tomorrow, or made-up stories. The book says peace does not come from fixing every outside problem first. It begins when you return your attention to this moment, right now. Chapter 3 goes deeper into one question. How do we actually live in the present? It is easy to hear be present, but hard to do. So this chapter explains in a practical way. The idea is not to stop thinking forever. Thinking is useful. We need it for planning, learning, and solving problems. The problem starts when thinking controls us all day long. Then the mind becomes like a machine that never turns off. Have you noticed how often the mind pulls you away from what is happening now? You eat food, but think about work. You talk to a friend, but think about your phone. You walk outside, but replay an old argument. You rest in bed, but worry about next week. The mind keeps saying life is somewhere else. But life is only happening now. This chapter says the present moment is the only place where real life exists. Yesterday is memory. Tomorrow is imagination. Both can be useful, but neither is happening right now. If you lose the present moment, you lose the only place where you can act, feel, listen, learn, or change anything. Let's make it simple. If Sarah is worried about a test next week, the test is not happening now. Right now, she is sitting at her desk. What can help her now? Studying one page, taking one breath, reading one question. But if she keeps living in next week inside her head, she feels fear without taking action. The mind creates pain by living too far ahead. The first key lesson of this chapter is to notice the difference between clock time and mind time. Clock time means practical time. It means using time to do real things. The meeting is at 3. I need 2 hours to finish this. The bill is due Friday. This kind of time is useful. We need it. Mind time is different. Mind time is when your thoughts keep dragging you into regret or worry. I ruined everything last year. What if I fail next month? Why am I behind everyone else? This kind of time often creates stress without helping anything. It uses energy but solves nothing. So the chapter does not say ignore tomorrow. It says use time when needed, then come back to now. Plan the meeting, then return to this breath. Schedule the work, then focus on the task in front of you. Learn from yesterday, then stop carrying it all day. The second key lesson is that many problems are not real in this moment. That may sound strange, but think carefully. Right now, at this second, what is your problem exactly? Maybe you are sitting safely in a chair reading this. Yet the mind says, my whole life is a mess. Often the mind turns many future possibilities into one giant heavy problem. This chapter asks you to separate life situation from life itself. Your life situation includes money, work, health, plans, goals, and challenges. These matter. But life itself is what is happening right now in this moment. The air entering your lungs, the chair under you, the sound around you, the chance to take one next step. When Mike lost his job, his mind said, "Everything is over." He felt crushed. But later he learned to slow down. In the present moment, what was true? He had a home for now. He had skills. He had one phone call to make, one resume to send, one person to ask for help. The giant problem became small actions. His situation was hard, but the mind had made it even harder. This does not mean pretending problems do not exist. It means facing real problems without adding extra fear from imagination. There is a huge difference between pain and extra pain created by thought. The third key lesson is that the body can help you return to now. The mind lives in stories. The body lives in the present. You cannot breathe yesterday. You cannot feel your hands tomorrow. You can only feel them now. So when thoughts race, bring attention to something real. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice your breathing. Listen to sounds around you. Feel water while washing your hands. Taste your food slowly. These small actions pull attention out of endless thinking and back into life. Emma used to get nervous before sleep. She would replay mistakes and imagine future problems. Then she tried something simple. Instead of following every thought, she noticed her breathing. She felt the blanket on her skin. She listened to the quiet room. Her mind still talked, but she stopped feeding it. Slowly, calm returned. That is an important point in this chapter. Peace does not always come because thoughts disappear. Peace often comes because you stop believing every thought. The chapter also explains that resistance creates suffering. Resistance means mentally fighting what is already here. Rain is falling, but you keep thinking, this should not happen. Traffic is slow, and you say, this is ruining everything. Someone made a mistake, and your mind repeats it for hours. The event happened once. The mind repeats it many times. Acceptance does not mean liking everything. It means first seeing reality clearly. Traffic is here. Rain is here. The mistake happened. Once you stop arguing with facts, you have more energy to respond wisely. Imagine John stuck in traffic. Option 1, anger, blame, stress, tight shoulders, ruined mood. Option 2, accept the fact that the car is not moving right now. Then choose something useful. Breathe. Listen to something helpful. Inform the person waiting. Same traffic, different inner experience. Chapter 3 keeps pointing to one truth. This moment is small, manageable, and real. The mind makes life huge, scary, and impossible by collecting 10 years of memories and 10 years of fears into one pile. No one can carry that. But one moment, one breath, one step, that is possible. Living in the present also improves relationships. When someone speaks and you are mentally preparing your reply, you are not listening. When you compare them to the past, you are not seeing them clearly. Presence means giving full attention now. People feel that. It creates trust. If Sarah talks to Mike while checking messages and thinking about dinner, he feels ignored. But if she looks at him, listens fully, and stays present, the conversation changes. Sometimes people do not need perfect advice. They need real attention. So what is the small journey this chapter offers? First, we are trapped in thinking. Then we notice it. Then we learn we are not the voice in the head. Then we return to now again and again. Each return builds calm, clarity, and strength. You do not need to become perfect at this. Even noticing you were lost in thought is already a win. The moment you notice, you are awake again. Then gently come back to breathing, to seeing, to listening, to the task in front of you. The clear message of Chapter 3 is simple. Your mind is a tool, not your master. Use it when needed. Put it down when not needed. Most suffering comes from living in moments that are not here. Most peace begins when you fully enter the one moment that is. Right now, as you hear these words, life is not asking you to solve everything forever. It is only asking you to meet this moment clearly. And when the next moment comes, meet that one too. That is how a calmer life is built, one present moment at a time. One of the biggest things stealing your peace is not your job, not other people, and not bad luck, but your own mind? That may sound strange at first, but think about it. How many times has your body been sitting safely in one place while your mind was running everywhere? Thinking about yesterday, worrying about tomorrow, replaying old mistakes, imagining future problems. Your body is here, but your attention is somewhere else. And while that happens, stress grows. This chapter of Underscore the Power of Now Underscore talks about exactly that problem. Imagine John sitting at home after work. Nothing bad is happening. He has food, a chair, and a quiet room. But inside his head there is noise. He keeps thinking, why did I say that in the meeting? Then another thought comes. What if I lose my job next year? Then another, I should be doing more with my life. Soon, John feels tired and upset. But notice something important. The room did not hurt him. The moment did not hurt him. His thoughts did. This chapter explains how the mind often avoids the present moment. It pulls us into the past or pushes us into the future. It creates problems even when no problem exists right now. The author says many people live this way every day and do not even notice it. They think constant thinking is normal. They think worry means they are being responsible. They think replaying pain means they are solving something. But most of the time, they are only trapped in mental noise. The main idea of this chapter is simple. Your mind often resists the present moment because it is used to living in stories. Stories about what happened. Stories about what might happen. Stories about who you are. Stories about what should have been different. The mind loves these stories because they keep it busy. But busy does not always mean useful. Think about how often the mind says, I'll be happy when I get more money. I'll be happy when people respect me. I'll be happy when I lose weight. I'll be happy when things become easier. This is one of the mind's favorite tricks. It tells you life starts later, but later keeps moving. When one goal is reached, another appears. So peace keeps getting delayed. Sarah did this for years. In school, she thought, I'll relax after exams. After exams, she thought, I'll relax after I get a job. Then, I'll relax after I earn more. Then, I'll relax after life becomes stable. But peace never came because she always placed it in the future. One day, she noticed something. Every time she reached a goal, her mind quickly created a new reason to wait. That is when she understood the trap. This chapter teaches that the future matters for planning, but it should not become a place where you expect to finally live. You can make plans for tomorrow, but your life is still happening now. If you ignore now, you ignore your real life. Another strategy the mind uses is living in the past. It repeats old pain, old anger, old shame. It says, you should have known better. You ruined everything. That person hurt you. Sometimes learning from the past is helpful, but repeating it again and again without action only creates suffering. Mike once made a mistake in business. Years later, he still thought about it every week. He would say, if only I had chosen differently. But nothing changed. The event was over. Only the memory remained. His mind kept turning memory into fresh pain. When he finally saw this pattern, he asked himself, can I learn something useful and let the rest go? That question changed him. He learned, adjusted, and stopped feeding the old story. This chapter also explains resistance. Resistance means fighting the present moment inside your mind. It is when reality is one thing, but your thoughts scream that it should be different. Traffic is happening, but your mind says, this should not be happening. Rain is falling, but your mind says, this ruins everything. Someone says no, and your mind says, they must agree with me. The problem is not that you prefer something else. Preferences are normal. The problem is the inner fight. That fight creates stress first, before any outside problem does. Emma stood in a long line at a store. She became angry. She sighed, checked the clock, and felt upset. Then she noticed something funny. The line was not changing because of her anger. The waiting was the same. Only now she was waiting and suffering. She took a breath, looked around, relaxed her shoulders, and accepted that for now, standing there was reality. The line still moved slowly, but she felt much better. Acceptance in this chapter does not mean giving up. It does not mean liking everything. It means seeing clearly what is happening right now before deciding what to do next. First, accept the fact of the moment, then act wisely. If your room is messy, first accept the room is messy, then clean it. If you are late, first accept you are late, then drive safely or send a message. If someone is rude, first accept They spoke rudely, then choose a calm response. Denial wastes energy. Clear seeing saves energy. Another lesson is that many thoughts are automatic. They appear on their own because of habit. If you believe every thought, you become their prisoner. But if you notice thoughts as thoughts, you gain space. For example, a thought may say, "You always fail." Is that fact or just a sentence of the mind? Another thought may say, "Something bad will happen." Is that truth or fear guessing about the future? Thoughts can be useful tools, but they are not always accurate. This chapter invites you to watch the mind the way you watch clouds in the sky. A cloud comes and goes. A thought comes and goes. You do not need to chase every cloud. You do not need to follow every thought. John tried this one morning. He woke up and immediately thought, "Today will be stressful." Usually he would believe it, but this time he paused and noticed, that is just a thought. Then he got up, showered, and started his day. Some parts were busy but not terrible. One small pause stopped hours of extra stress. The book also points to the body as a doorway back to now. When thoughts race, attention leaves a moment. A simple way back is to notice your breathing, your hands, your feet touching the floor, sound of room, or the feeling of water while washing dishes. These simple things are always happening now. They help anchor attention in reality instead of imagination. This does not mean never thinking. Thinking is useful for solving real problems. If your car is broken, think about repair. If you need money, think about work and budget. But endless thinking about things you cannot change right now is different. That is mental spinning, not problem solving. A helpful question from the spirit of this chapter is, do I have a problem right now, in this exact moment? Often the answer is no. You may have tasks to handle later. But right now you are breathing, sitting, standing, reading, walking. The mind turns future tasks into present fear. Seeing this clearly brings relief. So the small journey in this chapter goes like this. First, a person lives trapped in thoughts. Then they notice the mind keeps escaping the present. Next, they stop believing every thought. They accept what is happening now. Then they act from calm instead of panic. Life outside may still have challenges, but life inside becomes lighter. The practical message is clear. Your mind is a powerful tool, but it should work for you, not control you. Notice when it drags you into old stories or future fear. Notice when it fights reality. Return to what is actually here. Take the next simple step in front of you. Peace is rarely hiding in tomorrow. It is usually hidden under the noise of unnecessary thinking today. When the noise gets quieter, even ordinary moments feel easier. And that is the real power of now. Have you ever noticed that your body can be in one place, but your mind is somewhere else? You may be eating dinner, but thinking about tomorrow. You may be walking outside, but replaying an old argument in your head. You may be talking to someone, but not really hearing them. Many people live like this every day. They are present in body, but absent in mind. Chapter 5 of _the Power of Now _ talks about the answer to this problem. It explains something called the state of presence. Think about John. One morning, he wakes up already worried. He thinks about work, bills, messages, mistakes, and what might go wrong later. While brushing his teeth, he is thinking. While eating breakfast, he is thinking. While driving, he is thinking. By noon, he feels tired, even though half his tiredness comes from thoughts, not real work. Then during lunch, he sits outside for a minute. He feels the wind. He hears birds. He notices the warmth of the sun. For a short moment, his mind becomes quiet. He feels lighter. Nothing outside changed, only his attention changed. That small moment is close to what this chapter means by presence. The main idea of chapter 5 is simple. Presence means giving your full attention to what is happening right now. It means not being trapped in endless thinking about the past or future. It does not mean you stop planning or remembering. It means those things no longer control you all day. You use your mind when needed. Then return to the present moment. Many people think thinking all the time is normal. In one way, it is common. But common does not always mean healthy. Constant thinking can create stress, fear, anger, and confusion. The mind often repeats problems again and again, even when no action can be taken right now. Presence breaks this cycle. It creates space between you and your thoughts. A helpful way to understand this is to imagine the mind like a radio. Sometimes it gives useful news. Sometimes it plays noise. If the radio stays on all day, loud and nonstop, it becomes tiring. Presence is not smashing the radio. It is learning how to lower the volume. You realize you are the person hearing the radio, not the radio itself. This chapter teaches that presence begins when you notice that you are thinking. That sounds too easy, but it matters. Usually thoughts run automatically. One thought leads to another, then another. You may not even know it is happening. But the moment you notice, I am worrying right now, something changes. You are no longer fully inside the worry. You are watching it. That small gap is powerful. Sarah had this problem before sleep. Every night, she lay in bed thinking about embarrassing moments, future tasks, and random fears. The more she thought, the more awake she felt. Then she tried something new. She noticed each thought and quietly said in her mind, thinking. Then she brought attention back to her breathing. Thought came again. She noticed it again. Slowly, the storm became weaker. She did not force silence. She simply stopped feeding the noise. Another lesson in this chapter is that presence can be felt through the body. When people think too much, they often live only in the head. They forget the rest of themselves. But your body is always in the present. Your hands are here now. Your breathing is here now. The feeling of your feet on the floor is here now. Attention to the body helps bring you out of mental stories. Try a simple example. Hold a cup in your hand. Feel its weight. Notice its temperature. Feel your fingers touching it. For those few seconds, your attention is real and direct. You are not lost in imagination. This is presence in daily life. Small, simple, and available anytime. The chapter also explains that presence makes you calmer during problems. This does not mean problems disappear. It means you face them more clearly. When the mind panics, it often makes things worse. Presence gives space before reaction. Imagine Mike receives an angry message from a friend. His first impulse is to reply fast and angry. If he reacts from thought and emotion, the fight may grow. But if he pauses, feels his breath, notices tension in his chest, and waits 1 minute, something changes. He sees the message more clearly. Maybe the friend had a bad day. Maybe there was misunderstanding. He can now answer with sense instead of heat. Presence did not solve the problem magically. It helped him respond wisely. This chapter also says many people search for peace in future moments. They think, when I finish school, then I'll relax. When I earn more money, then I'll be happy. When others change, then I'll feel okay. Goals are fine. Improvement is fine. But if peace always lives in the future, it never arrives. When one goal ends, the mind creates another. Presence reminds us that life is always happening now, not later. Emma once believed weekends would fix everything. She hated weekdays and lived only for Saturday. But even on weekends, she felt restless. Why? Because the problem was not only her schedule. It was her habit of never being where she was. On weekdays, she wanted weekends. On weekends, she worried about Monday. She was always mentally somewhere else. When she learned to fully do one thing at a time, weekdays became easier and weekend became more enjoyable too. Another important point is that presence improves listening. Most people do not truly listen. They prepare replies while the other person talks. They judge, compare, defend, or drift away in thought. Presence means hearing someone fully before answering. This creates better relationships. Think of a child showing a drawing to a parent. If the parent nods while checking a phone or thinking about work, the child feels ignored. But if the parent gives full attention for 1 minute, looks at the drawing, listens, and responds honestly, that minute has real value. Presence often matters more than long speeches. Chapter 5 also touches on fear. Much fear comes from imagined future scenes. The mind says, what if I fail? What if they reject me? What if something bad happens? Sometimes planning is useful, but repeated imaginary danger drains energy. Presence asks, what is true right now in this moment? Right now, are you safe? Right now, what small step can you take? This turns fear into action. For example, before a job interview. John's mind says everything will go wrong. If he follows those thoughts, anxiety grows. If he returns to the present, he may notice, right now I am sitting in a chair, breathing, waiting. I can straighten my posture. I can review one clear answer. I can smile. Presence reduces fake problems and focuses on real next steps. Now, presence does not mean becoming passive or careless. It does not mean never thinking about tomorrow. You still plan, learn, fix mistakes, and make choices. The difference is this. You use thought as a tool instead of becoming its prisoner. You think when needed, then come back to now. So, how can someone practice this chapter in daily life? Start small. When washing dishes, just wash dishes. Feel the water. Hear the sounds. When walking, notice steps. When someone speaks, listen fully. When stress rises, take one slow breath and feel your body. When thoughts race, notice them without fighting them. Then return attention to what is real in front of you. At first, this may last only a few seconds. That is normal. The mind is used to wandering. Each return is success. Over time, those seconds become minutes. Life feels less heavy because you stop carrying 10 imaginary problems while dealing with one real task. The journey in this chapter is clear. The problem is constant mental noise. The understanding is that you are not required to follow every thought. The solution is presence. Attention to this moment, this breath, this action, this person, this step. In the end, Chapter 5 gives a practical message. Much of human stress comes from living everywhere except where we are. The past cannot be changed right now. The future cannot be lived right now. But this moment can be lived fully. And when you live one moment clearly, the next moment becomes easier too. Presence is not some rare gift. It is a skill. It begins the instant you notice that life is happening now. Have you ever noticed something strange? Your body can be sitting in a safe room, but your mind can still feel stress, fear, or pressure. Nothing bad is happening right now, yet inside, it feels like a storm. This happens to many people every day. A man named John once came home after work, sat on his couch, and still felt tired and tense. No one was yelling. No danger was near. But his mind kept replaying problems. Tomorrow's tasks, yesterday's mistakes, bills, messages, worries. His body was home, but his attention was trapped somewhere else. Chapter 6 of _The Power of Now_ talks about a simple but powerful idea. Your body can help bring you back to the present moment. Eckhart Tolle calls this connecting with the inner body. That may sound complex, but the meaning is simple. It means noticing the living energy inside your body, feeling your hands from the inside, feeling your breathing, feeling that you are alive right now. Instead of living only in thoughts, you begin to notice direct experience. Most people live mainly in their heads. They think, plan, compare, judge, remember, worry, imagine, and repeat old stories. Thinking is useful, of course. We need it to solve problems and make choices. But many people never stop thinking. Their mind keeps talking all day. When that happens, they lose touch with what is happening now. They stop noticing the body. They stop noticing the room, the breath, the small details of life. They become tired, even when they're doing nothing. The book says your body can act like an anchor. Imagine a boat in rough water. Without an anchor, it drifts everywhere. In the same way, when attention is no anchor, the mind drifts into fear, regret, anger, and endless noise. The body is that anchor. When you feel your hands, your feet, your breathing, or the weight of your body in the chair, attention becomes steady again. Sarah had this problem before speaking in meetings. Right before her turn, her mind would race. What if I say something wrong? What if people judge me? What if I forget? Her heart would beat faster. She thought the answer was to think harder and prepare more, but often that made things worse. One day, she tried something different. She placed both feet on the floor. She felt the pressure of her shoes. She noticed the air moving in and out. She relaxed her shoulders. For 10 seconds, she stopped fighting her thoughts and simply felt her body. The fear did not vanish like magic, but became smaller. She could speak clearly again. Why? Because attention moved from imagined danger to real present experience. This is one of the biggest lessons of the chapter. Many mental problems grow stronger when all attention stays in the mind. When attention also includes the body, the mind loses some of its power. It becomes quieter. The book explains that the body is always in the present moment. Your hand is here now. Your breath is here now. Your heartbeat is happening now. The body does not worry about next week. The body does not replay last year. The mind does those things. So when you connect with the body, you naturally connect with now. This does not mean ignoring real problems. If your rent is due, you still need to pay it. If your car is broken, you still fix it. The point is simple. Deal with real problems when they are real and present. Do not create extra suffering by mentally living in future disasters all day long. Use the mind when needed, then return to presence through the body. Another key lesson is that tension hides in the body when emotions are not noticed. Think about when Mike gets angry at work, but says nothing. He goes home and snaps at his family. Why? Because the anger stayed active inside him. His jaw tightened. His chest hardened. His breathing became shallow. If he had paused earlier and noticed those signals, he could have handled the emotion before it spread. The body often tells the truth faster than the mind does. Your stomach may tighten before you admit you are nervous. Your shoulders may rise before you notice stress. Your breathing may become fast before you realize fear is growing. If you learn to listen to these signs early, you can respond sooner. That is why this chapter encourages regular body awareness, not in a dramatic way. Just simple check-ins during the day. Ask, what is happening in my body right now? Are your hands tight? Is your face tense? Are you holding your breath? Is your stomach hard? Just noticing can already reduce tension. Awareness changes things. Emma used to scroll on her phone late at night. Her body was exhausted, but her mind kept wanting more videos, more messages, more noise. She thought she needed entertainment to relax. But each night she slept badly. Then she tried a new habit. She put the phone down 10 minutes earlier. She lay still and felt her whole body from head to toe. She noticed tiny sensations, warmth, pressure, breath, heartbeat. Soon her mind slowed down. Sleep came easier. She did not need more stimulation. She needed less mental noise. This chapter also teaches that presence gives strength. When attention is scattered, energy feels weak. You start something, stop it, switch tasks, check messages, worry. Then forget what you were doing. But when attention is gathered in the body and the moment, you feel more solid. You can focus on one thing. You waste less energy. Think of a flashlight. If the light spreads everywhere, it looks dim. If the light is focused, it becomes strong. Attention works the same way. Another smart point in the book is that many people search outside themselves for peace. They think, when I get more money, then I'll relax. When everyone likes me, then I'll feel okay. When problems disappear, then I'll be calm. But life always has some challenge. If peace depends on perfect conditions, peace never lasts. The chapter says a calmer state can begin now, by returning attention inward and becoming present. This does not mean sitting still all day. You can feel your body while walking, cooking, working, talking, or waiting in line. While washing dishes, feel the water in your hands moving. While walking, feel each step. While listening to someone, notice your breathing. These tiny moments train the mind to stay here. At first, many people say, I don't feel anything. That is normal. We're often used to living in thought, not sensation. But with practice, awareness grows. You begin noticing warmth, tingling movement, breath, tension, release. More importantly, you notice a quiet sense of being present. The journey in this chapter is simple. First comes a problem. People are trapped in nonstop thinking, stress, and emotional tension. Then comes understanding. The mind is useful, but it should not run everything. The body offers a direct path back to now. Then comes a solution. Regularly bring attention into body, especially during stress. John, the man on the couch, eventually learned this. After work, instead of replaying the day for an hour, he sat for 2 minutes. He felt his hands. He felt his chest rise and fall. He noticed the chair supporting him. He let thoughts come and go without chasing them. After a while, he still had tasks to do, but he no longer felt swallowed by them. His problems were the same. His relationship to them had changed. That is the real power of this chapter. It does not promise a perfect life. It offers a practical tool. When the mind becomes loud, return to the body. When fear grows, feel your feet. When stress rises, notice your breath. When anger builds, sense the tightness before it explodes. Presence often begins with something physical and simple. The clear message is this: you do not need to wait for life to calm down before you feel calmer. You can start now by placing part of your attention inside your own body. The present moment is not far away. It is as close as your next breath, your next step, your next heartbeat. Have you ever noticed that sometimes the best moment of your day lasts only a few seconds? Maybe you were sitting quietly in the morning. Maybe you looked at the sky. Maybe you took one deep breath after a stressful day. For a tiny moment, everything felt calm. No worry, no pressure, no noise inside your head. Then the mind came back again with plans, fear, and endless thinking. Chapter 7 of Underscore the Power of Now Underscore talks about those quiet moments. It explains that peace is not far away. It is already close. We just keep covering it with noise. Imagine John. He wakes up and instantly grabs his phone. Messages, news, work, bills, plans. His mind starts running before he even gets out of bed. By noon, he feels tired. Nothing terrible happened, but his head never stopped. Later that night, the power goes out in his house. No screen, no sound. He sits near the window and just listens to the rain. For the first time all day, he feels still. He wonders, why do I feel better doing nothing? This chapter answers that question in a simple way. The main idea of Chapter 7 is this: underneath all thoughts, there's a quiet space inside you. That quiet space is calm, clear, and peaceful. Most people live only on the surface level of the mind. They stay busy with thoughts, reactions, memories, and worries. But when thinking becomes quiet, even for a moment, they touch something deeper. The book gives this deeper space a special name, but in simple words, we can call it inner stillness. This does not mean you must stop thinking forever. Thinking is useful. You need it to solve problems, plan your day, and learn things. The problem begins when thinking never stops. Then the mind becomes like a machine that runs all day and all night. It wastes energy. It creates stress. It repeats old stories. It turns small problems into huge ones. This chapter says peace appears when you learn to step back from non-stop thinking. One lesson from this chapter is that silence is powerful. Many people think silence is empty. They think if nothing is happening, then nothing matters. But silence is not nothing. Silence gives the mind a break. It helps you notice things clearly. It lets emotions settle down. It gives space for better choices. Think about Sarah after an argument with her friend Emma. Sarah wants to text back right away and prove she is right. Her mind is hot and fast. But instead, she sits quietly for 2 minutes. No phone, no talking, just breathing. In that silence, anger becomes smaller. She realizes a fight is not as big as it felt. Now she can reply with calm words. Silence did not solve the problem by magic. Silence simply gave her enough space to think clearly. Another lesson is that attention changes your experience. Usually, attention is trapped by thoughts. You think about yesterday, tomorrow, mistakes, fears, and what others think. This chapter teaches that attention can move away from constant thinking and towards simple awareness. That means noticing what is here right now. For example, Mike is washing dishes. Normally he hates it. While washing, he thinks, I still need to work. I'm behind. My life is stressful. So dishwashing feels heavy. One day, he tries something different. He feels the warm water. He hears the sound of plates. He notices his breathing. The task is still the same, but now there is less mental weight. The chapter's point is simple. Suffering often comes less from the task itself and more from the extra noise added by the mind. The book also talks about nature as a doorway to stillness. This can be understood logically. When you look at trees, clouds, rain, or the ocean, your attention often becomes quiet. Why? Because nature does not demand mental arguments. It simply exists. Watching something natural can pull you out of endless thought. Emma feels stressed after work every day. She comes home tired and irritated. One evening, she sits outside for 10 minutes and watches the sunset. Colors change slowly. Wind moves the leaves. Nothing is asking her to solve anything. Her body relaxes. Her mind slows down. She feels better. This is not magic. It is what happens when attention leaves mental pressure and rests in the present moment. Another doorway mentioned in this chapter is deep feeling in the body. Many people live only in their heads. They notice thoughts but ignore the body until pain shows up. But if you bring attention to your hands, feet, chest, or breathing, you return to the present. Try this simple example. John is nervous before a meeting. His mind says, "What if I fail? What if they judge me?" Fear grows. Then he places attention on his breathing and feels both feet on the ground. He notices the air moving in and out. After 1 minute, the fear may not disappear fully, but it loses power. Why? Because fear needs future thinking to grow. Attention on the body brings you back to now. This chapter also teaches that space matters. Not only physical space, but mental space. If every second is filled with sound, screens, and talking, the mind never resets. Many people feel uncomfortable with quiet because they are not used to meeting themselves without distraction. So they keep adding noise. But think of a messy room. If every inch is packed with objects, it feels heavy. When you clear some space, the room feels better. The mind works the same way. When there are small moments of no input, the mind becomes lighter. That is why short pauses during the day are valuable. Waiting in line can be a pause. Sitting in a car before driving can be a pause. Walking to the kitchen can be a pause. You do not need a mountain retreat or perfect schedule. You need tiny moments of awareness repeated often. There is also an important warning hidden in this chapter. Many people chase peace as if it is another future goal. They think, one day I will be calm when my life is fixed. But the mind always creates a new condition. First it says, after this project, then after more money, then after everyone likes me. Peace keeps getting delayed. This chapter says calm is found now, in this moment, not after life becomes perfect. Look at Mike again. He thought happiness would come after promotion, after a bigger house, after more free time. Each time he reached one goal, the mind created another. He was always running. Then he learned to enjoy small present moments. Morning coffee, a slow breath, finishing one task, hearing birds outside. His life was not perfect, but he was no longer waiting to live. The small journey in this chapter is simple. First comes a problem. People are trapped in non-stop thought. Then comes understanding. Thoughts are useful tools, but they should not control your whole life. Then comes a solution. Step into silence, attention, nature, breathing, and awareness of the body. These are doors back to peace. This does not mean becoming passive or lazy. You can still work hard, solve problems, build goals, and care about life. The difference is that action comes from clarity instead of panic. You still use the mind, but you are no longer dragged around by it. Imagine two people doing the same job. One works with constant stress, inner complaints, and fear. The other works with focus, short pauses, and calm attention. Both may be busy, but one burns out faster. The chapter teaches the second way. So what is the practical message of Chapter 7? Peace is not something you need to create. It is something you uncover when mental noise becomes quiet. You can touch it in silence, in one conscious breath, in watching the sky, in feeling your hands, in listening fully, in giving full attention to what is here now. The world may stay busy. Problems may still appear. But inside that busy life, there can be a quiet center. And the more often you return to that center, the stronger and steadier you become. Sometimes the most powerful change does not come from doing more. It comes from pausing long enough to remember what calm feels like. Have you ever noticed that many people want love, but still feel lonely inside relationships? They say, if I find the right person, I'll be happy. But then they find someone, and after some time, the same stress returns. Small fights begin. Hurt feelings grow. Silence becomes heavy. Why does this happen so often? Think about John and Sarah. At first, everything felt exciting. They talked for hours, laughed at small things, and felt close all the time. But after a few months, things changed. John wanted more attention. Sarah wanted more space. John felt ignored. Sarah felt pressured. Tiny problems became big arguments. Both thought the other person was a problem, but the real problem was deeper. This is one of the main ideas in Chapter 8 of The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. This chapter talks about relationships, but it does not talk about romance in the usual way. It talks about how people bring stress, fear, and old pain into relationships without knowing it. The book says many relationships fail because two people look to each other for something that must first be built inside themselves. Peace. The chapter explains that many people enter relationships hoping the other person will remove their sadness, fear, boredom, or emptiness. This feels good at first. When someone gives attention, love, and excitement, the mind says, "Finally, I am complete." But that feeling often does not last. Why? Because another person cannot carry your inner balance forever. They are human too. They have moods, fears, and problems. So when the happy feeling fades, people often blame each other. John says, Sarah changed. Sarah says, John became needy. But maybe neither changed. Maybe the excitement simply covered their inner problems for a while. When the cover disappeared, the hidden problems came back. This is a powerful lesson. Relationships do not create all our pain. Many times, they reveal pain that was already there. Think of it like shaking a bottle of muddy water. The mud was already inside. Shaking only made it visible. In the same way, close relationships can shake us. They bring out jealousy, fear, anger, insecurity, and control that can feel bad, but it can also help us see what needs healing. The book talks about something called emotional pain from the past. In simple words, this means old hurt stored in the mind and body. Maybe someone felt rejected before. Maybe they were ignored, criticized, or disappointed many times. Those old feelings do not always disappear. They wait quietly. Then one small event wakes them up. For example, Sarah comes home tired and quiet. John thinks, she doesn't care about me. He becomes cold and upset. But maybe Sarah is only tired. John is reacting not just to Sarah, but to old feelings of being unimportant. This happens every day in many homes. A simple moment becomes a big fight because old pain is driving the reaction. The book says the answer is awareness. That means noticing what is happening inside you while it happens. Instead of instantly blaming the other person, pause and ask, what am I feeling right now? Is this moment really the problem, or is something older waking up? That pause changes everything. Imagine John feels ignored. Normally, he would attack. He might say, "You never care about me." But now he stops. He notices tightness in his chest. He notices anger rising. He realizes he is scared of being unwanted. Instead of attacking, he says, "I feel hurt right now." That creates honesty instead of war. This is one of the key lessons of the chapter. When you become aware of your reactions, you stop being controlled by them. The book also explains that love and need are not the same thing. Many people confuse them. Need says, "I need you to make me okay." Love says, "I share my life with you, but I am not using you to escape myself." Need creates pressure. Love creates space. When someone needs another person to feel whole, fear appears. Fear of losing them. Fear of being left. Fear of not getting enough attention. Then control begins. People become demanding, clingy, jealous, or manipulative. But when someone learns to be more at peace inside, relationships become lighter. They can enjoy the other person without trying to own them. Think of Emma and Mike. Emma gets upset if Mike spends time alone. She thinks, if he loved me, he would always choose me. Mike feels trapped. They fight often. Later, Emma starts noticing her fear. She realizes being alone makes her feel unimportant. Instead of controlling Mike, she works on calming herself and speaking honestly. Mike feels respected. Their relationship improves. Nothing magical happened. Awareness happened. Another lesson from this chapter is that conflict can be useful if handled the right way. Most people think conflict means failure. But conflict often shows where growth is needed. If anger keeps appearing, there may be hidden pain. If jealousy keeps appearing, there may be insecurity. If constant criticism appears, there may be unhappiness inside. So, the problem is not only the argument. The deeper issue is what the argument is revealing. This means relationships can become a mirror. A mirror does not attack you. It only shows you what is there. A relationship can show impatience, fear, selfishness, or emotional wounds. That truth may hurt, but it can help you grow. The chapter also says being present is important. Being present means giving attention to what is happening now, instead of living only in mental stories. For example, Sarah forgets to reply to a message. If John lives in his mind, he creates stories. She doesn't care. She is losing interest. Something is wrong. He becomes upset before knowing any facts. But if he stays present, he notices. Right now, I only know she has not replied yet. That is a fact. The rest is imagination. Presence protects us from creating unnecessary pain. This is useful in every relationship. Many fights are caused not by reality, but by stories built in the mind. The chapter does not say relationships must always be saved. Some relationships are unhealthy. Some are full of disrespect, repeated harm, or constant dishonesty. Awareness can also help someone see when it is time to leave. Peace does not mean accepting bad treatment. It means seeing clearly. So presence helps in two ways. It can heal a healthy relationship with common problems, and it can reveal when a harmful relationship should end. Another strong point is that no partner can complete you. That idea sounds romantic, but it often causes pain. If you believe another person must complete you, then your happiness becomes fragile. It depends on their mood, choices, and attention. A stronger path is this. Build steadiness inside yourself first, then share life with someone, not as a rescue plan, but as a partnership. This changes everything. You listen better. You fear less. You argue less. You do not panic every time something feels off. Let's return to John and Sarah. Before, each wanted the other to remove inner discomfort. That failed. Later, both learned to pause during reactions, speak honestly, and take responsibility for their own feelings. They still had disagreements, but the fights became smaller and shorter. Why? Because they stopped turning pain into blame. That is the small journey of this chapter. Confusion, reaction, awareness, growth. The deeper message is simple. Relationships do not fail only because of the other person. They often suffer because two unconscious patterns are fighting each other. But when even one person becomes more aware, the pattern begins to weaken. So what can we learn from Chapter 8 of The Power of Now? Do not expect another person to fix your inner life. Notice your reactions before speaking. Separate facts from stories in your mind. Use conflict to learn about yourself. Love people without trying to control them. And bring attention back to the present moment, where clear thinking lives. When people stop asking, how can this person make me happy? And start asking, what am I bringing into this relationship? Everything becomes wiser. In the end, the best relationship gift is not perfect words, gifts, or endless romance. It is awareness, honesty, and calm presence. When those grow, love has room to breathe. What if the thing you keep chasing is the very thing keeping you tired? Many people spend years trying to be happy all the time. They think if they get more money, better friends, a nicer house, or more success, then life will finally feel complete. But after every win, the good feeling fades. Then the chase begins again. This is the deep idea inside Chapter 9 of The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. This chapter explains something surprising. Happiness and unhappiness often come in waves, but peace can stay. Think about John. He gets a new phone and feels excited. For a week, he is happy. Then the phone becomes normal. Later, it gets scratched, and now he feels upset. Same phone, different feelings. Then he gets praise at work and feels great again. Next week, someone criticizes him, and he feels low. John thinks life is controlling him, but really, he is riding the ups and downs of his mind. Many people live like this every day without noticing. This chapter says happiness and unhappiness are usually connected to conditions. Conditions mean things happening outside you. If something goes your way, you feel happy. If it does not, you feel unhappy. When traffic is smooth, you smile. When traffic is bad, you get angry. When someone texts back fast, you feel wanted. When they do not, you feel worried. Your feelings become tied to events, people, and results. There is nothing wrong with enjoying good moments. Good news can feel good. A sunny day can feel nice. A kind message can warm your heart. The problem starts when you depend on these moments to feel okay. Then your peace becomes fragile. It can be broken by one delay, one rude comment, one mistake, or one loss. The chapter teaches that peace is different from happiness. Happiness often says, something good happened. Peace says, I am okay right now. Happiness may rise and fall. Peace is more steady. Happiness may need conditions. Peace does not need everything to be perfect. This sounds strange at first. How can someone feel peace when life is messy? The answer is simple. Peace does not mean you love problems. It means you stop fighting reality in your mind. You still solve problems, but without adding extra suffering. Let's use Sarah as an example. She plans an important day. Then it starts raining, the bus is late, and her coffee spills. Her mind says, this day is ruined. Now she has two problems, the rain and the mental fight against the rain. She cannot control the weather, but she adds anger, stress, and blame. That second problem is optional. If Sarah pauses and says, this is what is happening right now, let me handle it, her body relaxes. The rain is still there, but the suffering becomes smaller. That is one of the biggest lessons in this chapter. Pain grows when the mind argues with what already happened. We replay things and say, this should not be happening, but it is already happening. Fighting reality after the fact wastes energy. Accepting the moment gives energy back. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means seeing clearly first. If your room is messy, accept that it is messy now, then clean it. If you made a mistake, accept that it happened, then fix it. If someone hurt you, accept that it happened, then set boundaries or walk away. Clear action works better than angry reaction. Another lesson in this chapter is that many people are addicted to drama without knowing it. Drama can feel alive because it creates strong emotion. Complaining, worrying, arguing, and overthinking can become habits. The mind keeps making stories because silence feels unfamiliar. Mike is a good example. If one small thing goes wrong, he tells everyone. He repeats it all day. He imagines worse things coming next. By night, one tiny issue has become a mountain in his head. The real event lasted 5 minutes. The mental story lasted 10 hours. This chapter asks us to notice when we are doing that. When you notice it, you gain power. You can ask, what is the fact and what is the story? Maybe the fact is, your friend was late. The story is, they do not respect you. Nobody cares. Everything always goes wrong. Facts are often small. Stories make them huge. The chapter also explains that life moves in cycles. Some days feel light. Some feel heavy. Some seasons bring growth. Some bring loss or waiting. This is normal. If you expect life to always feel good, you will be disappointed often. But if you understand that change is natural, you become calmer. Emma starts a new project and feels excited. Later, progress slows down. She feels frustrated and thinks something is wrong. But slow periods are part of many journeys. Rest, confusion, mistakes, and delay often happen before clarity. When Emma stops calling every hard moment a failure, she feels more stable. This chapter invites us to stop measuring life only by a good day or a bad day. A quiet day may teach patience. A hard day may teach strength. A delayed plan may open a better one. This is not magic thinking. It is practical thinking. Sometimes we judge too early. Another key lesson is to come back to the present moment. Most stress lives in thoughts about yesterday or tomorrow. Regret lives in the past. Fear often lives in the future. But action happens now. If John is worried about tomorrow's meeting, what can he do right now? He can prepare notes, practice, rest, or breathe slowly. Those are real actions. Endless worry feels active, but it usually changes nothing. The present moment is where life is handled. Not next week, not last year. Right now, this chapter keeps returning to that truth. Peace becomes possible when attention returns to what is here instead of getting lost in mental noise. Here is a simple practice from the spirit of this chapter. When upset, pause and ask 3 questions. What is happening right now? What story am I adding? What is one calm action I can take? These questions cut through confusion. Imagine Sarah gets criticized at work. Her first reaction is pain. Then she pauses. What is happening right now? Someone gave feedback. What story am I adding? I am terrible. Everyone hates me. I will fail. What calm action can I take? Listen. Learn what is useful. Ignore what is not. Improve one thing. Suddenly, she has space again. The chapter does not promise a perfect life. It offers something better, a steadier inner life. Good things will still feel good. Hard things will still be hard. But you no longer have to be thrown around by every event. Peace is not excitement. It is not winning all the time. It is not getting every wish. Peace is a quiet strength of being present, accepting what is real, and responding wisely. So the clear message of chapter 9 is this. If your happiness depends on everything going your way, life will feel unstable. But if you learn to meet each moment calmly, peace can stay even when life changes. Enjoy happy moments when they come. Handle hard moments when they come. But do not build your whole life on either one. Build it on presence, clarity, and calm action. That is a kind of strength no outside event can easily take away. What if the thing making your life harder is not your job, not other people, not bad luck, but the way you fight each moment? Think about that for a second. Many people wake up already upset. They fight the weather, fight traffic, fight delays, fight mistakes, fight people, and even fight their own thoughts. By the end of the day, they feel tired, not only from work, but from all the inner fighting. Chapter 10 of Underscore the Power of Now Underscore talks about a simple idea that can change this. It says sometimes peace begins when you stop fighting what is already here. Imagine John. He plans a perfect day. He wakes up late. His phone battery is dead. Coffee spills on his shirt. Then someone at work criticizes him. John becomes angry at every step. He keeps saying in his mind, "This should not happen. Why me? This day is ruined." By lunch, nothing huge has happened, but John feels terrible. Now imagine another version of John. The same problems happen. He wakes up late and says, "Okay, I'm late. Let me move." Coffee spills and he changes shirts. Someone criticizes him, and he listens calmly before reacting. Same events, different inner response. One John fights reality. The other John deals with reality. That difference is the heart of this chapter. In this chapter, Eckhart Tolle talks about something he calls surrender. That word can sound weak, like giving up or losing, but that is not what he means. He means accepting the present moment first, before taking action. It means seeing clearly what is happening right now without adding extra anger, fear, or resistance. It means saying, "This is what is here now." Then from that calm place, you choose what to do next. This is important because many people confuse acceptance with doing nothing. They think if they accept a problem, they become passive. But real acceptance is not passive. It is smart. If your car gets a flat tire, yelling at the tire does not help. Accepting means seeing the tire is flat. Then you repair it, call for help, or change plans. You still act, but you act without wasting energy fighting the fact that it already happened. One key lesson in this chapter is that pain often comes in 2 layers. The first layer is the event itself. The second layer is your mental resistance to the event. The event may be small or big, but the second layer can make it much worse. Sarah waits in a long line at the store. That is the first layer. Then she thinks, "This is stupid. My whole day is ruined. People are so slow." That is the second layer. The line may take 10 minutes. Her anger may last an hour. Many times, the second layer hurts more than the first. This does not mean life problems are fake. Problems are real. Loss is real. Pain is real. Hard times are real. The chapter does not deny that. It simply says suffering grows when the mind keeps fighting what already is. When something happens, first face the truth of it, then respond. That order matters. Another key lesson is that surrender gives you clearer thinking. When you resist reality, your mind becomes cloudy. You react fast. You blame, you panic, you say things you regret. But when you pause and accept the moment, your thinking becomes sharper. Mike gets an email saying his project has errors. If he reacts in anger, he may attack others or make more mistakes. If he accepts the moment first, he can say, "Okay, errors exist. Let me review them." That calm response saves time and stress. This chapter also explains that many people live as if happiness can only happen later. I'll be okay when this week ends. I'll be happy when I get more money. I'll relax when everyone agrees with me. So they reject the present moment again and again. But life is always happening now. If you always wait for later, peace keeps moving away. Surrender means allowing this moment to be what it is, even while working towards something better. Think about Emma. She wants a new job. Every day she hates her current one so much that she becomes bitter. She drags herself through each morning. Because she is so negative, she has little energy to apply for new jobs or learn new skills. Then she tries a different approach. She accepts, this is my current job right now. It is temporary. I can use today wisely. She still wants change, but now she has more strength to create it. Acceptance helped action. Another smart point in this chapter is about relationships. Many fights happen because people argue with facts. A person said something rude. That happened. Instead of first accepting that it happened, we instantly build a war in the mind. They always disrespect me. Nobody cares. I must win this fight. Then the conflict grows. Surrender in relationships means first seeing clearly. Those words were said. I feel hurt. Then you respond calmly. You set boundaries, speak honestly, or step away. Calm truth is stronger than emotional chaos. This chapter also talks about difficult emotions. Sometimes sadness, anger, fear, or jealousy show up. Many people either drown in them or push them away. But surrender offers a third option. Notice the feeling without becoming it. For example, Tom feels angry after being ignored. Instead of exploding or pretending nothing is wrong, he says inside, anger is here right now. He feels it in the body. He breathes. He waits a moment. Then the anger loses some power. Now he can choose a wise response. That is practical psychology. Feelings often grow when we feed them with stories. This always happens. I'm worthless. They hate me. But if we simply notice the feeling and stay present, it often passes faster. The feeling becomes information, not a prison. The chapter also reminds us that surrender is needed most when life is hard. It is easy to be calm when everything goes well. The real test comes during delays, sickness, rejection, mistakes, and uncertainty. In those moments, resistance says, this cannot be happening. But it is happening. Fighting reality does not remove it. Acceptance gives you your energy back, so you can handle it. Imagine Lisa loses an important chance she worked for. She feels disappointed. That is natural. Surrender does not mean smiling and pretending it is great. It means being honest. I am disappointed. This hurts. Then she stops repeating the story all day. She learns what she can, rests, and tries again later. That is strength, not weakness. There's also a quiet lesson here about control. We control less than we think. We can guide actions, choices, habits, and effort, but we cannot control every result, every person, or every timing. Suffering grows when we demand total control from life. Peace grows when we do our part and accept the rest. So, how can someone use this chapter in normal life? Start small. When something annoying happens today, notice your first reaction. Maybe traffic stops. Maybe a message is ignored. Maybe a plan changes. Before complaining inside, pause. Say, this is the moment right now. Feel your breath once or twice. Then ask, what is the next useful step? That simple pause can change your whole day. You can also ask 2 questions during stress. First, what part of this is fact? Second, what extra pain am I adding with resistance? The fact may be small. The added story may be huge. When you see the difference, you become freer. By the end of chapter 10, the message is clear. Life becomes heavier when we fight every moment. It becomes lighter when we accept what is here and respond wisely. Surrender is not losing. It is dropping useless inner struggle. It is not saying yes to bad behavior. It is saying yes to reality first, so you can deal with it clearly. It is not weakness. It is calm strength. So remember John from the beginning. His hard day was not only made by late alarms and spilled coffee. It was made heavier by resistance. When he stopped arguing with each moment, he gained energy, focus, and peace. The same can happen for anyone. You do not need a perfect life to feel better. Sometimes you only need a better relationship with the moment you are already in. Have you ever noticed that the more you fight a problem in your mind, the bigger it feels? A small delay becomes a terrible day. One rude comment becomes a week of anger. One mistake becomes a heavy burden. This is the heart of the final chapter of The Power of Now, often called Chapter 11. The meaning of surrender by Eckhart Tolle. And the word surrender here does not mean giving up. It means stopping the useless fight inside your head so you can deal with life clearly. Think about John. He wakes up late. He misses the bus. Then it starts. Why does this always happen to me? My whole day is ruined. He gets angry, rushed, tense, and careless. Later he spills coffee, forgets a meeting, and argues with a friend. Now compare that with another version of John. He wakes up late and misses the bus. He takes one breath and says, "This happened. I don't like it, but it happened. What can I do now?" He books another ride, sends one message, and moves on. Same problem, different mind, different day. That is the main idea of this chapter. Pain often comes in two layers. First, there is the real event. Second, there is the mental fight against the event. The first layer may be small or medium. The second layer can become huge. Tolle says much of our suffering comes from this second layer. In simple words, many problems are made worse by arguing with reality after it already happened. Surrender means accepting this moment as it is right now. It does not mean liking it. It does not mean saying bad things are good. It does not mean being weak. It simply means seeing what is real before taking action. If it is raining, it is raining. If you lost a job, you lost a job. If someone is upset, they are upset. First see clearly, then respond wisely. Many people confuse acceptance with passiveness, but they are not the same. Imagine Sarah gets unfair feedback at work. If she reacts with anger right away, she may say things she regrets. If she pretends everything is fine, she becomes resentful. But if she accepts the fact first, "This happened and I feel upset," she becomes calmer. Then she can ask questions, explain her side, or make a plan. Acceptance is not doing nothing. Acceptance is doing the right thing without inner chaos. This chapter teaches that resistance uses energy. When you mentally fight what already exists, you waste strength. You replay scenes. You imagine revenge. You complain again and again. Hours pass, but nothing changes. Surrender saves that energy. It gives it back to you so you can use it where it matters. Think of Mike stuck in traffic. He slams the wheel, curses, checks the time every 10 seconds, and arrives exhausted. Traffic did not hurt him as much as his reaction did. Another person in the same traffic uses the time to breathe, listen to something useful, or plan the next step. Still delayed, but not destroyed. That is surrender in normal life. Another lesson in this chapter is that the present moment is always smaller than the story in your head. The story says everything is ruined, but the present moment may simply be one missed bus, one hard conversation, one bill to pay, 1 hour waiting. The mind turns one moment into a giant future disaster. Surrender cuts the story and returns the facts. This helps especially during hard times. If Emma loses a relationship, pain is natural. Sadness is normal. But the mind may add extra pain. I'll always be alone. I wasted years. I'm broken. These thoughts make healing slower. Surrender would sound more like this. This hurts. It ended. I feel sad today. What I need right now. That mindset creates space for recovery. Tolle also points out that fighting emotions can make them stronger. If you say, "I should not feel angry," anger often stays longer. If you say, "I notice anger is here," the feeling can move through faster. This is logical. When we stop wrestling with feelings, we can understand them. Sometimes anger hides hurt. Sometimes stress hides fear. Awareness helps more than suppression. A powerful part of this chapter is learning the difference between what you can change and what you cannot change right now. If you can act, act. If you cannot act yet, accept and wait without poisoning yourself. Suppose John gets sick. He can rest, see a doctor, take medicine, and recover. But if he keeps saying, "This should not be happening," he adds mental stress to physical stress. Better to focus on what helps. Surrender also improves relationships. Many arguments are not about the issue itself. They are about two people refusing to accept what is happening in the moment. One person is upset. The other says, "You should not feel that way." Then conflict grows. A wiser response is, "I see you're upset. Let's talk." Acceptance opens a door to solutions. There's also a quiet strength in surrender. When life does not go your way, panic says react now. Ego says prove yourself now. Fear says control everything now. But surrender says pause, see clearly, then move. This often leads to smarter choices. Athletes know this. Good players do not panic after one mistake. They reset and play the next move. This chapter does not promise that life becomes easy. Problems still come. People still disappoint. Plans still fail. Bodies still get tired. But it says suffering becomes lighter when you stop adding mental resistance. You may still carry the load, but you stop carrying extra bricks. So how can someone practice this today? Start small. When a line is slow, notice the irritation. Say the line is slow, that is fact. Then notice the story. My day is ruined. Let that story go. When someone criticizes you, first feel the sting, then ask, is any part of this useful? When plans change, say, this is what happened. What now? These tiny moments train the mind. The journey in this chapter is simple. First, life happens. Then the mind fights it. Then suffering grows. Next comes awareness. You see the fight. You stop feeding it. Then energy returns. Calm returns. Clear action becomes possible. In the end, the message of Chapter 11 is strong and practical. You do not need to control every moment to live well. You only need to stop fighting reality long enough to meet it wisely. Surrender is not losing. It is dropping the useless battle inside your head so you can handle the real one outside. And often, that one becomes much easier. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this.